Hello, family and friends. How are you today? It's some privilege for me to be back again as we proceed on this our amazing program. This is day two of the Other Brick Box Parenting Challenge. How did your day one go, by the way? I believe by now you have taken your notes and your journal. What exactly your children feel about the entire thing you're trying to do? Now, I want you to understand that it's not about the result you want to achieve at the end of the day. It's much more about who you're going to become. I mean, have you thought about yourself finishing this program a calmer person who is able to relate with people better? Your relationship with your spouse is better. At work, you are a more robust and fantastic person. What can happen if your entire life changes at the end of this program? I'm sure you feel very, very proud of yourself. You feel very, very good about yourself. But much more, I always say to people that when you focus on who you're becoming, your result becomes inevitable, because at the end of the day, you would have mastered how to effectively communicate with your children and transform their reality. Now, consistently, I look around the continent of Africa and I wonder how come it's very tough for us to produce credible leaders. How come you see the potential of children when they were growing up, and you get into adulthood, you realize that they can't transit from childhood to adulthood with the same level of ferocious curiosity. So I look at my life, for example, and when I was a child, I used to talk a lot. Then all of a sudden, they started calling me talkative. They started calling me names to say that I talk too much. I should keep quiet. When adults are talking, you keep quiet. So the society will impose on you all kinds of rules that does not promote your mental wellness. Now, those rules are actually meant to guide you. By the end of the day, you realize that the rules end up sabotaging you. So a lot of us, we were actually damaged children who have become dysfunctional adults, but because we still go to school, because we're still able to get a job, because we drive a good car, because we're able to buy houses and build properties and do all kinds of things, because we can preach and teach, and people look at us and they think, oh wow, I want to be like you. We think we are okay. But when you compare ourselves to our age mates in other clime, to think that there's a generation elsewhere who may never understand what it means to experience uninterrupted power supply, compared to us, in which it's a normal thing. When you think of nations with social security, nations with fantastic healthcare, nations that as a graduate you can actually take a mortgage when you have a job, and you compare that to an environment where you may never even experience it. Some people don't even know that it exists. Then you begin to see the level of damage that has been done to us. So even though our parents felt they wanted to discipline us, they ended up domesticating us. So you see a lot of fear in us, a lot of organized hypocrisy. We hate our leaders, but we do rankadede and we bow down and we worship them even though we don't like them. Now, that's the kind of software that has been installed in us, and that's why you realize that the same thing we shout on our children for, and we try to beat them for, the same things our colleagues at work do them, our spouses do the same, and we don't make the same treatment to them. So over a period of time, it looks as if the children are the only ones who are worthy of that level of punishment. So in day two, it's a day to be sensitive, because the first skill in parenting is a skill of observation. A lot of us have destroyed the potential of our children unconsciously because we did not observe. So you realize that when Tiger Woods was 4, his father already bought him his first golf kit. What was that thing that his father saw? When Serena Williams was age 3, the father took her to the lawn tennis court. What was it that the father saw that made him even make a prophecy that his 2 children will become world tennis champion at different time, which has since come to pass? So when we do not pick the signal that our children are exhibiting, we impose our will on them, or our gene on them. So how many children look at a child and they say go to school to become a medical doctor, even though the guy never has any medical potential in him? How many generations have we lost to parents who did not see sport as a means of livelihood, or as a field of study. How many children have had the music in them conditioned out by their parents, who, because their worldview is you must go to school, without school you can't become anything in life, imposed that on them and diverted them to begin to study courses that cannot promote their wellness and well-being. So imagine a child is showing musical prodigy, a child who is showing musical potential. What exactly would it cause the parents to find a school that is heavy on music and allow that child still learn his music while he learns academics, and to understand that his ability to go to the university or do a master's or do a PhD may never really define what is resident in him and will define his future, because school will refine what is in you. School may never give it to you. As a matter of fact, a lot of lecturers may divert it, or they may even kill it, right? Because the original concept of school is actually a place of leisure that has been defined now to become a place of lecture, where curriculum are designed that doesn't promote the well-being of the child, curriculums that have not been upgraded, promoted by teachers who have low self-esteem, and you realize that a child ends up being damaged and confused. That's why we have a lot of adults who, even though they are adults, they are confused. A lot of us listening to me right now, even though you feel good about yourself, you are earning money, but deep down you know something is missing. You don't feel fulfilled because the real child in you, the real potential in you, was sacrificed by the adults in your life. So day 2 is a day to pick the signal of your child. When you hear Bill Gates, what comes to your mind? When you hear Nelson Mandela, what field comes to your mind? When you hear Thomas Edison, what comes to your mind? When you hear Mike Tyson, of course, boxing comes to your mind. When you hear Austin Okocha, football comes to your mind, or Maradona or Ronaldo or Messi, football comes to your mind. Medical field cannot come to your mind. Now, if I mention your name, what should come to my mind? If your child's name is mentioned, what should come to our mind? Every child on the globe came here with a factory-fitted solution waiting to be unleashed by intentional parents who understand how to pick the child's signal and beam it to the rest of the world. However, with a dysfunctional parent, a child becomes a victim of his own potential and grows into a dysfunctional adulthood. Now, so you need to pay attention. Your child, there's a signal your child is showing. I'll give you an example. When my son was born and he started going to school, every time he went to school, he broke his friend's pencil. He broke his own pencil as well. So I began to ask around, why was he breaking their pencil? And they told me it was because he was playing drums. Now, I took it upon myself to begin to buy him all kinds of musical instruments. Now he plays the saxophone so well. I mean, some of his videos are on social media. Now, you need to understand, deep down, if you ask me, what do I want him to become? I would really want him to be a medical doctor, but I have not seen the medical gene in him. He's shown more musical traits, and that's why I have ensured that I support him to the best of my knowledge. In fact, when I hired a music teacher for him, I wanted him to desperately learn piano. But after a while, he told his music teacher that he would prefer saxophone. So I had to support him at the end of the day, against my wish, but in obedience and respect to the potential he has shown. So here are the questions for today. What signal is your child sending, and what is your child naturally good at? Right? So you have some children who play football. If you go to the field and you realize that your child is not naturally talented, it may be a distraction. You need to find what is naturally talented and guide him and ensure that he's focused at it. Number 2, what upsets you about your child and what is positive and what upsets you? So you have a child who plays football all the time, or who is on screen every gadget in the house, that gets you upset. But there's a message your child is passing to you. Can you pick the message? It upsets you because it's messing up your phone, it's messing up your stereo, it's messing up, your gadget, but as much as that upsets you because of the amount that it's cost you, right? What signal is your child showing based on what gets you upset? Is something you pick. And number 3, what was the opportunity cost or the discerning measure of your parents on your own self-confidence? So your parents installed fear in you in their bid to protect you, for example. So you stood on a chair and you wanted to jump, and your parents said to you, if you jump, you're going to break your leg. Now, from that moment, you never dared anything again. They could have told you, yes, you can jump, but this jump is higher than your age. Why don't we create the jump that is compatible with your age? They will still have said no to you. They will still have protected you, but they would have preserved the ferocious curiosity and the ability to dare things in you. The boldness in you would have been preserved. So many of the things your parents did, if you have to look back right now, what was the opportunity cost of the disciplinary measure of your parents on your self-confidence? What was the opportunity cost of their disciplinary measure on your core traits and potential? And what is going to be the opportunity cost of what you are already doing to your children? Number 4, what are you doing that is hurting your child at the moment? What are you doing that is hurting your child? What is that gift in your child that you don't even understand and you are not even willing to study? So you have a child who is catwalking. Maybe your religious dogma forbids that. You're looking at the people who have done that and you think they are flirts and you think they will be exposing their body. So your child has a modeling potential which you think contradicts your religious belief. Now it contradicts your interpretation of your religious beliefs or the handlers of your religious beliefs. So you are going to allow that trait in your child, which should make him or her global, to die because you want to preserve, a dogma that you don't even understand yourself. So what are you doing that is hurting your child? So why don't you sit down with your child? What am I doing that is hurting you, that makes you feel sad each time I do it? Now, Tiger Woods sends a golf signal. Why Mark Zuckerberg sends Facebook? What signal is your child sending to the world? What do you have to do today? Hey, have a meeting with your children once again. You did that yesterday, and ask them to feed you back on what they don't like about your parenting style and what they would have you change. You need to ask that critical question today. And please take note, right? And help them. Tell them to help you change that behavior. Number 2, intentionally observe your child to pick the signal he or she is sending to his or her world. Your role is not to define your child's signal. Your role is to protect, preserve, and help your child beam the signal so that the highest subscriber base can receive it. Your child is like a satellite, right? Your child needs subscribers, and that satellite has a coverage, right? Your role is to help your child expand this coverage so that his satellite and his solution is beamed to the rest of the world. Remember, your child is a solution to a global problem. You must never allow your beliefs, your values, or what you think is right or wrong to turn your child into a local champion. Well, please try and do this today, right? You can make comments in the comment link so that we know exactly how you're doing. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask me. Remember, today in the prologue of the book, Out of the Box Parenting. If you have not gotten the book, please go to www.iampraisefowowe.com/out of the box and get the book so that you can join this program. You will transform your reality and transform your parenting style. My name is